start with the NANOG community meeting. So I would like to welcome the NANOG Board of Directors to the stage for presiding over this meeting. This is a chance for you to get organizational updates and ask questions and interact with the board, share thoughts, ideas. And at this time, I'd like to go ahead and start the moderation session. Jonathan?
So thanks for joining us this afternoon. It's good to be here as a community. You are our community. We wanted to take a few minutes out of the day to talk about some of the community initiatives that are going on, and again, to try and build on the sense of community that we have. NANOG is made up of a number of committees, as you know. The program committee probably has the highest profile. They set all the content and the program that you're enjoying over these days. There's several other committees that contribute to the full experience of the NANOG community, and each of those committees has a board liaison. We will let the board introduce themselves, tell us a bit about themselves, their NANOG history, and the board that they are the liaison for. Committee appointments take place every February. To be a committee member, you do need to be a member of NANOG, but think about that as you're considering how you can contribute and give back to the community. If you have additional questions, you can ask any of us at the end of the event this afternoon, or reach out at the committee's table that is in the network lounge. So, what are the committees doing? Oh, I have a clicker, I forgot about that. Thought we'd do the introductions as you do your committee. That's a good point. We'll start with introductions of the board members, and Leslie, you may have some additional things because, okay.
All right, am I live? Thanks. My name is Leslie Daigle. I am the chair of the NANOG board. As far as NANOG history, well, I've been playing with internet technologies for 30 years or so, and engaged in IETF work, et cetera, and have been working for not-for-profits for probably the last 20 years, focused on moving the internet forward. So throughout the course of the last 20 years or so, I've participated in NANOG meetings on and off since the early aughts, but much more regularly these days. In terms of the additional update, I wanted to point out that there is not a slide in this deck about the organizational updates in terms of financials or mechanics, or in terms of things we're considering, and like hotel room prices and meeting locations and whatnot. If you're interested in those topics and you aren't already a member, I encourage you to become a member, because tomorrow morning we're going to have that deeply engaging discussion at the members meeting at 9 a.m. So 2 things: remember that the members meeting is tomorrow at 9 a.m. And if you aren't already a member, there are solid reasons to become one before tomorrow morning at 9. Thanks.
I'm Michael Costello. I'm the treasurer of the board of directors. I will be giving one of the more exciting presentations tomorrow about finances. So if you are interested in the financial standing of this great community, please become a member. Please show up at our member meetings. I have my NANOG history. I think my first one was in Phoenix in around 2001. I was on and off until about 2016 when I joined the program committee. I've been pretty deeply involved since then, just ending my first term on the board. I've been working as a network engineer, systems administrator, offensive and defensive security researcher, software developer, and on and on. Currently with an identity governance provider doing cloud architecture stuff, hoping to see that industry represented more here. And yeah, I think that's about the end of my brief biography.
Hi, I'm Steve Feldman. I've been in the industry, I guess, since I had lots of dark hair. We got started as a grad student at UC Berkeley, where I was working on these cool technologies called Ethernet and Unix. and actually did a project doing an Ethernet driver for BSD Unix on the VAX. Started at NANOG back in the 90s when I was working on May East, and kind of never left after that. Right now, I am a member at large on the board and liaison for a couple of committees, which I'll talk a bit about when we get to that section.
Hi, my name. Hello. Hi, my name is Vincent Slindero. I am currently serving as the vice chair on the board. I am the liaison for the audit as well as the community engagement committee. Don't have the tenure as Steve has here, but been probably attending NANOG regularly since about the 2015 era, and started out managing university networks along with some RENs, and then kind of transitioned over to the vendor side of things. So different viewpoints for the organization.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Cully. I'm a newly elected member of the board, and I am responsible for a few subcommittees, what I consider to be the best subcommittees, of course. The mentorship subcommittee, which is a fantastic group that's working towards hopefully making better, more solid connections within the community, and the workshops subcommittee, which is hopefully going to provide all of us more deep level education that we are looking for. And I've been coming to NANOG since about 2011, and I'm the peering coordinator and a network engineer for Comcast.
Hi, I'm Kat Gorinsky. I am the current secretary for the board. This is my second of my 3-year term on the board. I've been coming to NANOG since NANOG 46 back in 2009. Had a bit of a gap in the middle there where I had some kids and things, but I've been coming pretty regularly. It's my first time missing in many years. So hello from afar. Normally I am there with you guys. I'm currently the liaison for the program committee, and also the liaison for the new moderation committee, which is in charge of moderating the Discord mailing list and also the conference chat that you're using this week as well. And yeah, I've been network engineering for about 17 years.
I am Adair Thaxton. I am the chair of the PC, so I get a non-voting spot on the board. I am very pleased to be up here because this means I get a half-hour break from moderating Slack messages about all of the little fires that we need to be putting out immediately. I started my career as a network engineer at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and have been a network security engineer at Internet 2 for 7.5 years now. My first NANOG was NANOG 78 in San Francisco.
We'll move into a time of committee updates. We'll go through them in this order, and each of you can give your update, and we'll just move on to the next one as you're finished.
Since I'm first on that list, the audit committee, which is in charge of doing the audits for NANOG's financials. This year we have, the board has approved the financials from an outside company, so nothing really more to be said about that, unless there's questions. Good. The community engagement committee, which if you guys enjoy the pickleball or the Women in Tech that had happened on Sunday, as well as we're having a fundraiser for the Center on Colfax, a 5K run tomorrow morning. That's been brought to you all by the efforts of the Community Engagement Committee. We're here to essentially help the community feel included, lots of inclusivity. Formerly, we were known as the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee, but we have rebranded to name it Community. So again, if you enjoy all these other social activities, the quiet times, that's all brought by the CEC. Thanks.
Thanks. So the mentorship committee has been in existence for a few years now, and is doing a very great job and a full job of trying to make the structure around where we can make better, more deep connections between attendees at NANOG. And we are creating the structure for that, and I think that the message that I would like to give out today has to do with, if you're interested in that kind of thing, if you're interested in being a mentor to newer people who are coming, or if you're newer and would like to, hook up with someone who has been around for a while, that get in touch with us and we can, kind of facilitate that kind of thing. And we're also working on some other things having to do with ways of interacting with NANOG that aren't the very formal structures like the main program and the socials. It's kind of between the lines type thing. And I look forward to rolling more of that stuff out. And then with regards to the workshop committee, so I worked very hard to get the workshop committee up and running, and in this environment, it will hopefully open the doors for us to have more learning that is hands-on, meaning you come into a classroom, you open up your laptop, and you are working with tools, not just you're sitting in a room and reading about tools on a screen. So that is something that is moving forward, and we hope to have more concrete product for our members and attendees by November.
Hi. So my two committees. The first one is the Elections Committee, and apologies, I'm reading off notes so I don't forget anything or anybody here. The Election Committee is responsible for making sure that the election actually happens and that it's fair and the results are trusted, essentially. We usually spend the first part of the year getting ready for the election, which happens in October. So that means making sure that we have planned what the communications are going to be and what we're doing when the voting actually happens and all that. So that's been our focus, but we also decided to spend some time during the first few months of the year doing some education and outreach so that people like you actually understand why you might want to become members, you might want to vote, might want to run for office. So I specifically want to call out Mike Voidy, who's going to be giving a talk in a few minutes on that exact subject, and Courtney Hoaglander, who's not here this time, who put together a survey of members to try to figure out what we can do to make people more interested in voting. We got some really good results, which we're working through now. The other committee is the Hackathon Committee. That's a lot of work, and if you do notice us if we're doing a good job or not. We're thrilled to report that for the first time in a very long time, we actually have a full attendance at this meeting's hackathon. We can't take any more participants, which is great. We're also, for the first time in a long time, working with a sponsor. I want to thank Meta and the team for sponsoring us not only financially, but putting together some really exciting challenges for the participants to take care of. We've been tweaking the format as we go for the last couple of meetings. This one's a bit different in that we're pretty much in person only. And the competition and timing of when the sessions happen is a bit different. So we're still trying to tweak things and learn as we go. That said, putting together the hackathon is a huge amount of work. It's not clear that we can actually sustain this level of effort 3 times a year, so we have to figure that out going on. But I do want to particularly shout out to Chris Woodfield, who's the committee chair, Steve Ulrich, who's been doing a lot of organization and documentation behind the scenes, and Barry Cook, who was a new member this year, who took it upon herself to write a new challenge on her own while participating completely remotely this time. So thanks to all of them and everybody else in the committee.
Great, thanks. We have one more committee, and as you saw, Kat Gorinsky is remote. So Kat, if you are still with us, would love to hear an update on the moderation committee.
I am still here. So the moderation committee was formed earlier this year. And so right now we've been working on, we've got the charter finalized. We're working on moderating the Discord and the mailing list, and the chat is new for this one too as well, for the in-conference chat. always looking for more volunteers, so do let us know if you're interested in helping out with that. There's a lot of you notice in the Discord automations that have been set up to let you know like, when the next talk is for things in the main session, in the breakout rooms, for Women in Tech, for other things, various topics. So hopefully you guys can enjoy and make use of that and see regular updates around that. So you're not just constantly pulling up the schedule on the website. You can also just have your Discord open and see what the next talk is in each location.
And then carry on.
Yeah, it's been a learning curve for us, and we're just trying to get it ready and going for you guys. And so let us know if you have feedback.
Thanks, Kat. Just before we move on to the next slide, Leslie has a couple of closing thoughts on this agenda item.
Yeah, there's a couple things. One thing I wanted to clarify that the elections that Steve Feldman referred to are the elections for board members and confirmation of bylaw changes, whatnot. So those are the elections that will be rolling out this fall. So if we're representing just how engaging and delightful it is to be on the board of NANOG, you can already start thinking about possibly running for the board in this year's elections. And the other thing I wanted to make sure we were clear on is the committees are formed by the board in order to carry out the work that's needed to sort of flesh out community support and or carry out board work such as the audit committee. So it's our job to appoint people to those committees. If you're an NANOG member and want to participate in these committees, as was already mentioned, the appointments will happen next February. But keep those thoughts in mind for coming out to play. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Leslie. So NANOG is part of a larger community of organizations, and I hope most of you are familiar with all of these acronyms that are on the screen. But we are one member in this large group of organizations who help to make the internet better, stronger, safer, faster, and function properly. We really want to help foster cooperation and a stronger internet community within our region, the North America region. So in the future, we're going to be providing some updates from these organizations in the NANOG events. And similarly, hopefully we can encourage and foster additional communication, maybe sharing some best practices, particularly among network operators groups. So if you are thinking of starting a NOG or you're involved in a NOG, please be in touch with us. We want to put together probably a short time for you to collect some thoughts, maybe some time to share some updates at the next NANOG event, and hopefully encourage you in your own efforts to be network operators groups in your area of North America. So that's really a quick update on the community of NANOG, and we're here to answer any questions you've got. If you come to the microphone, please identify yourself by name and company. Any questions? Okay.
Comments or suggestions?
Suggestions?
Brilliant ideas.
Okay. Thank you all for coming. We'll be around for a few minutes here. If you want to get more involved in the communities, talk with any of us or staff or with the community desk, the committee desk out in the network lounge area. Thank you very much.
Thanks.